We're joined by Earnestine Coleman, the Fair Park PTA president. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You are joining up with it looks like the Fair Park Alumni Association, considering legal action against the school board. Tell us why.
Beginning on or before 2002, and from one of the school board members, he stated 2002, so I'm going to start with 2002. I personally believe that Caddo Parish School Board has systematic plotted to assassinate Fair Park. And we have the documentation. We have a timeline of when they started removing programs from Fair Park, not sending enough money over for books and tools. We have a timeline of when it started. And so I do hold the system responsible for the F status that Fair Park is in. They have gone unserved, neglected for too many years.
Ms. Earnestine, pardon me, just to clarify what you're saying, your accusation is that the Caddo School Board, for the last decade and a half,
yes,
has not only let Fair Park go to hell, but they've done it purposely?
Purposely, yes.
And why hasn't legal action been taken between now and then? I mean, we let it continue to decline. Is it simply because they're planning on closing it? That stirred you guys up?
No, well, I got interested in it when several years ago when they wanted to close the school. That's when I really paid attention. I've been going to Fair Park, walking those halls, not really knowing what was going on until they wanted to close it. At one time, we did have a meeting with the state superintendent and found out exactly what the shape that Fair Park was in. And they had been that way for years.
But if they've let it go downhill for, as you said, since 2002,
yes,
and you think they've done it on purpose,
I believe they've done that on purpose.
Why is that?
That is an answer that needs to come from Caddo Parish School System. Why?
But when you and your friends, when you and the folks in your organizations get together, and obviously you're not the only one that feels this way, there have to have been some sort of theories and or conspiracies put forth as to why they want that school killed.
I've heard so many things about why they wanted to close that school.
Well, give us the craziest one. Give us the craziest one, and then we'll work our way back.
Okay, they wanted the children to go over to Booker T. Washington. We're not going to accept that, and that was back then. They plotted if they closed the school, the kids would go to Booker T. Washington. They would increase their enrollment. We won't accept that. We can't accept that. But the failure comes from the elementary school and to the junior school, and by the time they get to Fair Park, they can't read. So Caddo Parish have failed the kids from their early childhood up until their 12th year, and it's time out for them to play with those kids' lives like that.
The answer, we're seeing it in a lot of communities, that you've created these magnet schools to solve your, quote, your desegregation problem. But then, just like you just mentioned, you're leaving your inner city schools with fewer resources. Like you say, they don't have books to take home. How do we solve that without addressing the federal concern over desegregation?
I don't even think that the school board members were smart enough to look at that. I certainly don't think the school board person that presented this proposal thought about it, because he does not have a plan. Somebody has told me on yesterday that he said that we'll have more money. Well, if you have money to buy cars, new buses, do you not put the children education before that?
Ms. Earnestine, we had a couple of folks on the school board itself tell us that this whole move to merge Fair Park and Booker T BTW all came about just really fast, like in the last couple of weeks. Did you have any inclination that this earlier on that this vote was going to take place and that the merger was so, at least the plan to merge was so imminent?
This is the first time I heard about the merger was last week of Fair Park and Booker T. But I heard several years ago that they wanted to close Fair Park and make it, they first said elementary school and then a junior school. But no, this was planned. It was planned. We have the documentation. When you start removing programs from schools, the medical career is a magnet program that was put to Fair Park under the consent decree. They cannot remove that program, but they did. Legally, they could not take that program from Fair Park. I believe they stripped Fair Park of all of their programs, so they would be justified. Well, they just can't survive like this. We won't give them books. We done moved the programs. So they need to go somewhere else. No, that is wrong. They're grossly mistreating those kids, and the federal government need to know that. They need to come in and ask them, where's the Title I money that was due Fair Park? They could have used that money in the right places and had money to buy books.
What would you like to see happen? The school board really has no choice now. The state could come in May and take over the school. Would you be okay with that?
I would be okay with the state taking it over. We want to keep Fair Park a high school. We want that. And if it's under the state, so be it.